Welcome to PLZ Soccer's European Special. I'm Patrick Mullen, joined once again by Blair Malloy as we look into what has been another exceptional week of Champions League football. Before we get into any of that, the weekly tradition of wearing retro football shirts. Blair, what have you got on for us today?
Yep, we're running out of shirts now. We're down to the final four. We only have two left after this one, so I think it's nice that we're wearing, in commiseration to the two teams that dropped out this week. I'm wearing a Bayern Munich from, I believe, 1995. The year I was born, actually, with Jurgen Klinsmann on the back, one of my heroes and one of my favourite shirts growing up. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this one this week.
Yeah, mine's not quite as vintage as that. It's quite a recent PSG shirt. You know, I felt bad for them. They've tried to win the Champions League so much in recent years, spent so much money, and once again they've fallen short.
Yep.
Let's just have a look at some of the results we've seen in the second legs of the semi-finals. PSG 0, Borussia Dortmund 1, and last night we had Real Madrid 2, Bayern Munich 1. Blair, incredible football, but I think we've got to talk about last night's game. Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. What a spectacle.
Yep, there is only one place to start with that Real Madrid-Bayern Munich game, and it was one of those ties. When it came out of the hat, we knew it was going to be special, and I think it lived up to every bit of its billing. Last night, after that incredible 2-2 first leg, everyone was on the edge of their seat going, what's going to happen tonight? And it 100% lived up to that, especially when Alphonso Davies gave Bayern Munich the lead. It looked like they were going to do it.
That last, well, you'd say last few minutes, but we had, 9 minutes of added time, went on to 13 minutes. That last 13 minutes of football for me was some of the best, most exciting football I've seen in a long time. But the big talking point about the game, is it VAR? Is it the referee? That decision to disallow the goal, Mats Hummel, he had the ball in the back of the net, ruled out for an offside, an incorrect offside. You'd be fuming if you were Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I think all of the reaction from Bayern Munich afterwards just showed how incredulous with anger they were. That the referee, the assistant linesman, had first put his flag up, and then the referee had blown his whistle before Matthias de Ligt had put the ball in the back of the net, and then we rewound it back. It looked as though he was onside, and it's so very rare these days that you see and a linesman put his flag up. They always let everything go on to VAR, so you can understand why they'd be annoyed that it didn't happen that time.
Thomas Tuchel, justly, he was not happy. Let's hear what he had to say speaking after the game.
To raise the flag in a situation like this where you can never be sure that this is offside. To have the balls, to have the guts, to raise the flag in a situation like this is a huge call, and it's a wrong call. The referee has the chance, when he sees that we win the second ball and we win the rebound and we get a shot away within 5 seconds, he has the chance not to whistle. He takes the decision to whistle. It's against every rule, I'm sorry. We accept, we lost, it is what it is, but just that would not have happened on the other side.
He's absolutely correct. If you look at the IFAB rules that we've got here, you see that he is absolutely correct. The linesman should not. You look at it here. For clear offside decisions, the assistant referee should flag immediately. But when an immediate goal-scoring opportunity is likely to occur and there is a tight, marginal offside call, the assistant referee should keep their flag down until the passage of play is completed. Once the goal-scoring opportunity is complete, either a goal is scored or the chance is gone. The assistant will then flag to indicate the initial offence. If a goal is scored, the VAR will review the offside judgment. In both of these situations, the referee should wait to blow the whistle until the immediate phase of play has ended. But you look at those rules and you look at what the linesman did and then the referee did, and they haven't followed the strict rules on VAR.
Yeah, I think you can understand where Thomas Tuchel is coming from, and that it just goes against everything that clubs have been told is going to happen with VAR now. And it's almost, I've seen a lot of people on social media say, well, it was onside, it looked as though he was level, why was it not checked by VAR? But as we've seen there with the rules, it's almost like once the referee is blown, he can't then go and check, because it's Schrodinger's goal, if you will. He scored it and he didn't score it. As soon as the referee blows, that goal doesn't exist. It's not there to be checked, so VAR can't go back and check that goal because it didn't happen as far as VAR is concerned. The referee's blown his whistle and the game stopped.
And it's the issue, but it's also a question, should it be allowed? Well, the Real Madrid players will say, if it did get checked, we stopped playing, you blew your whistle.
Yep.
That is what we've been taught since we were 2-3 years old, is you stop when the referee blows his whistle.
Yep.
And it's a refereeing mistake, and I'd be very surprised if I see those two refereeing the final in Wembley in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I think that it's just one of those. It's one of those times where Matthias de Ligt came out after it. He said that if the linesman apologised to him, he said, "Look, I made a mistake." And sometimes, that's football. Sometimes mistakes happen. I understand it's at the very highest level, and technology was supposed to eradicate these things. But as Thomas Tuchel said, they need to accept it. They lost. They need to move on. And I think Real Madrid going through to the final, it's a stroke of luck, but they made it.
It's unbelievable how they just keep doing it. Carlo Ancelotti has got to be one of the greatest managers of all time. He absolutely loves the Champions League, and he was speaking after the game all about that love.
Difficult to explain, impossible to explain, I say, but it's the magic of this club, first, of this competition. I think for us it's really special, this competition, of this stadium and of this supporter. That when you put the shirt, you feel something special.
They were the dominant side throughout the night. You have to admit that, Blair.
Yeah, just touching on Carlo there, I watched that full press conference and he actually opened up by saying, it's happened again. It's just, he knows that Real Madrid, they're just so incredible in this competition that they have some sort of spiritual higher force at work that you just can never rule them out of this. And like you said, Carlo Ancelotti is now, just as it goes, now reached the 6th Champions League final, which is absolutely incredible. He's, like you said, one of the best managers in the world. He's right up there for me in the echelons of club managers. And I think his ability, he for me is the best at going into a dressing room where there's a lot of egos, a lot of big names, and maybe not being the most tactical of managers. You look at Pep Guardiola, you look at other managers like that who are very tactics heavy. I think Ancelotti's more, go out there, obviously tactically astute, but dealing with these big personalities and making them play for him, making them really, really feel as though it's a part of a unit. And you look at that Real Madrid team and they look unstoppable at times.
I was watching this game last night and a friend of mine came and joined me literally 2 minutes before Real Madrid got the equaliser. And I was kind of explaining what was going on. And I was like, this is Real Madrid. This is a team that I think everyone at the start of the tournament thinks is going to win. And you've got a Bayern Munich side who couldn't even win their own league this season, who are about to knock them out of the Champions League. Like, this is huge news. Like, I'm amazed. And then Real Madrid go and score 2 goals. I was like, that just proves everything you have to say. They have this never die attitude. They're never out. They're always going to go for it. And it worked once again last night.
Yeah, Real Madrid do what they do. And I think that's the most unsurprising bit of the entire evening. What may be surprising, though, is the man who scored the 2 goals, 34-year-old Joselu. And I mean, he's had quite an interesting career path. If we take a look at some of the clubs that he has played for here, just look at this list. Started off with Celta Vigo, then went to Real Madrid in the B team, made a couple of appearances for the Real Madrid first team, moved out to Hoffenheim, Frankfurt and Hannover 96, all in Germany. Came to England, played at Stoke City quite famously.
I remember that.
Went back to Spain and joined Deportivo La Coruña. Then went back to England for another spell at Newcastle in the Premier League. Back to Spain again to play for Alaves, and last season was in a relegation fight with Espanyol, who got relegated to the 2nd division in Spain. And Real Madrid, I think, in the summer were really looking for a replacement for Karim Benzema, and he was the only option they could really afford. Obviously, they spent all the money on Jude Bellingham, and they thought, oh, we need a centre forward, we need to replace Benzema at some stage, and they went for Joselu. And what an incredible story for this man, and what a night of this man to come off the bench and score 2 goals like that.
He was exceptional. I didn't actually recognise him until we were talking about this afterwards. Like, I remember him in his Stoke City days, and he just was nothing of that player. Maybe it's the skin fade just sorted him out, and he's now become a talent. So Real Madrid, they've booked their place into Wembley last night. Before that, Borussia Dortmund also booked their place with a 1-0 victory over Paris Saint-Germain.
Yep, one I wasn't expecting, I'll be honest. Yeah. I think everyone thought PSG were just going to turn up. I thought that all the build-up leading up to the game was all about Mbappe. This is the crescendo of his PSG career, if you like. This is where he's going to really step up, put a marker on, because the game is still there to be won for PSG. They were 1-0 down, by no means an insurmountable scoreline to overtake Borussia Dortmund, but somehow this Dortmund team, they keep on winning, and Mats Hummels again, the man to step up for the big occasion.
Two Man of the Match awards for the 2 games. 35 years old. He's still absolutely incredible at that age, doing it on the highest stage. Have a listen to this tweet that he put out after the game. So many teams wanted to play against us. Luckily, we are really nice guys and made it to the final. So that as many as possible of them get the chance.
That's brilliant. I love that from Mats Hummels. What a great way to react to your team making it to the final, because I don't think anybody expected them to get here. I think Dortmund, with respect to them, they're a massive European powerhouse. They have been for the last 20 odd years, but there was no way they would expect to get to this final, especially in the group they were in with PSG, Milan and Newcastle. They were lucky if they would even get out of that. People at the beginning of the tournament tipping them to maybe drop out of the group stages, but the fact they've managed to continue on, and with this squad, I thought it was a very interesting comparison. It was an article by Gabriel Marcotti for ESPN that was talking about PSG probably have the most coveted player in the world right now in Kylian Mbappe, the most wanted free agent I think possibly ever. When you look at this, Dortmund side, and it's a lot of guys who have just been cast off by their parent clubs. Ian Maatsen, who was cast aside at Chelsea, Jadon Sancho obviously loaned out at Manchester United and couldn't really get a game there. Mats Hummels himself, Niklas Süle, Marcel Sabitzer, all moved on by Bayern, who obviously we've seen go out last night, and Marco Reus, even a legend at that club, and he's going to be moving on at the end of the season. It really is a team of players who, well, they couldn't quite make it elsewhere perhaps, have all came together on this magnificent run.
What an end to a fabulous career. Marco Reus going to lead his team out at Wembley, Champions League final. Imagine if he could win it. But we talk about those teams, those players that were deemed surplus to their original teams. Do you think, for me, that kind of gives them some less pressure? They can just go out there and play. Like Mats Hummel said, every team was like, I want to play Borussia Dortmund. They were deemed as the weaker side. You're going into every game as an underdog. No one's expecting you to win. And they've gone all the way to the final, and I wouldn't put it past them to go all the way. Yeah,
I think you're right with that underdog tag. Every game almost they've played in this Champions League, they've been expected to get put out, and they've just kept surprising everybody. We love a narrative. As journalists, we love a narrative in football, and I think that Marco Reus, on his last game for Dortmund, after such an incredible career, renowned Barcelona fan as well, taking on Real Madrid at Wembley, the stadium where they lost the Champions League final last time he was there. For him to win it on that stage would be incredible. But also don't forget the Jude Bellingham effect. Jude Bellingham coming back to London, back to England, who taking on his former side, Borussia Dortmund, who he left in the summer after heartbreakingly losing the league in the last day of last season. Could he lift the title against them? It's going to be some final. It's going to be some final.
PSG though, again, you almost think these two semi-finals, the arguably dominant sides throughout the night. How many times they hit the post? 4 times in the second period.
4 times in the second half.
Yeah, I mean they were chance after chance after chance, but you've just got to be like, sometimes it's not your night.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't happen. I think that's the beauty of these knockout competitions. Just sometimes it doesn't go for you, and sometimes your team will hit the post 4 times and a half, and sometimes you just get knocked out. But I feel quite positive about this PSG side. I mean, I think they have a lot of young players. We've spoken about them all the way over the course of this Champions League campaign, that this is a regeneration of this PSG side. Guys like Vitinha, who's 24, Gonçalo Ramos, who's 23, Bradley Barcola, who's 21, Lucas Beraldo, only 20, Warren Zaire-Emery, he's still only 17 years old. He's made such an impact this season. I think that there's a bright future for PSG, albeit they will have to do it without Kylian Mbappe.
It's just the magic of the Champions League. Like, if you look back throughout some of the ties, Real Madrid, Man City, last night, Real Madrid beating Bayern Munich. If you just replayed one leg every round, I think you'd get completely different teams, completely different. These teams aren't better than each other, all the same and the same. It's just who performs better on the night, who gets a bit of luck, whose ball hits off the post and goes into the back of the net, and that's what makes it the best tournament in the world.
It's a game of millimetres. I mean, you look at that Bayern Munich game last night, Manuel Neuer, he has one of the best games of his life up until he makes that one mistake.
Felt so bad for him.
It's so uncharacteristic of Manuel Neuer. He drops the ball and Joselu nicks in and scores it. 99 times out of 100 Manuel Neuer catches that ball. But like you say, it's a game of margins, and it's Real Madrid who'll take on Borussia Dortmund in the final.
Final at Wembley, a few weeks' time. Who've you got?
I think we'll save our predictions for our final preview show. Give me a little bit more time to think about it, because my predictions have been notoriously terrible this season. So let's see. We'll give that a week or so.
Oh well, we'll look forward to that. We'll be back with the next European show just before that all-coveted final at Wembley Stadium. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for joining us on PRZ Soccer's YouTube channel.